Impreza, one of the most famous Japanese cars of all time. It's legendary because of its rally heritage and status as a roadworthy race car for all. It offers all that a lot of people want to see in a car. All-wheel drive, boosted, sedan, practical when you need it to be. What more could you want? Not to mention one of the best, if not the best, sounding 4-cylinder engines ever made. It has evolved over the years, but still kept the same classic formula that we all know and love. The Impreza has been through 4 generations so far, with plenty of facelifts in between. Each generation and facelift has a unique name given to it by the Subaru community. Me, being a part of the Subaru community, have all the generations memorized. Here they are. We start with the first generation, 1992 through 2001 in the US, normally called GC8 after the chassis code. I've also heard it called the Classic Eye generation. Next up we have the second generation, 2002 through 2007, with 3 facelifts. 02 through 03 is the Bug Eye generation, given by the look of the headlights. 04 through 05 is the Blob Eye generation. 06 through 07 is the Hawkeye generation. Third generation is 2008 through 2014, otherwise referred to as the Stink Eye generation. Yeah, I know. 2015 to present is known as the Swift Eye, Evo Eye, and many other unofficial names. The names WRX and STI aren't just cool sounding acronyms. They actually stand for something. WRX stands for World Rally Experiment, or World Rally Cross. Some think that STI stands for Stage Tuned Impreza, but it actually stands for Subaru Technica International. Throughout the Impreza generations, they have featured a plethora of different engines. For the sake of simplicity, we're going to focus on only the WRX and STI engines for each generation. The way Subaru engine codes work is really simple. The first 2 letters are the engine model, most commonly the EJ engine because it has been the main model for the past couple decades. In the next 2 digits, we go over the displacement in liters. Lastly, we have the generation of the engine with that displacement. Okay, here we go. This is going to be quick, hopefully you can keep up, but there will be subtitles just in case you can't. Beginning with the GC8, the US never got a WRX or STI for that generation. The WRX came with an EJ20T engine making around 230 horsepower. The STI came with the same EJ20T, now making around 250 horsepower. Now many of you may know that this generation featured the 22B. It came with an EJ22 engine making around 270 horsepower. The EJ22 and the 22B actually wasn't originally an EJ22. It was actually a closed-deck EJ20G that had been bored out to 2.2 liters. Now I've actually got an EJ22T in my backyard from a first generation legacy turbo. It was close to the 22B's engine in that it was 2.2 liters in closed deck block. Closed deck of course meaning it had thick cylinder walls and could withstand a good beating. Next up we have the second generation. We'll stick to the North American Impreza for the rest of these specs. The Bug Eye WRX came with an EJ205 engine making around 200 horsepower. In the US we didn't get the STI for the Bug Eye generation. For the Blob Eye generation, we got the same EJ205 in the WRX and the STI with an EJ257 making 300 horsepower. The Hawkeye changed things up a bit. The WRX model now came with an EJ255 making around 240 horsepower. The STI stayed with the EJ257 still making 300 horsepower. Now we get to the third generation. The WRX still used the EJ255 and the STI still used the EJ257, now making 305 horsepower. Now to the fourth generation. The WRX now has the new FA20F engine making 268 horsepower. The STI, however, has stuck with the EJ257, now making 310 horsepower. Okay, that was fast. Let's move on. For handling, the WRX had stock sporty suspension and brakes created by Subaru. The STI actually got performance parts installed, such as Brembo brakes for improved stopping power. The WRX and STI were supposed to be street-legal rally cars, so they are outfitted to have that capability from the factory. The Impreza has many features and quirks that set it apart from other street-ported rally cars. Its ridiculously large hood scoop, wings straight off of a 747, big beady eyes that stare deep into your soul, a 5-speed transmission that will sometimes explode for no good reason, and many more to go with that. Now I live in Colorado, hence the 303 garage name, 303 being the main area code for the state. So I've been a Subaru fan since I got into cars, and I've actually owned 2 of them, so I can actually talk from experience in this video. Moving from the front back, we start with the bumper. Nothing interesting here other than a bank of lights every now and then. On the hood we have the classic Subi hood scoop. One of the biggest scoops are found on the Hawkeye STi. Now a lot of people actually wonder what the point of the scoop is for. Underneath the hood on the stock engine is a top-mounted intercooler. Many cars stock have fender-mounted or other types of intercoolers, but the Subaru has it on top. The scoop blows outside air onto the intercooler to cool intake air from the turbo before it goes into the engine. Another shameless plug, if you'd like to know more about intercoolers and turbochargers in general, I recommend checking out my informative documentary about turbos. Another quirk of the engine is the exhaust note that it creates, the Subi rumble as it is known. To put it simply, the exhaust headers run on equal lengths into the end pipe, so exhaust gas enters that pipe at differing time intervals. Engineering Explained actually has a great video about this. Next, on the roof, you will sometimes have a sunroof if you buy a WRX Limited. The STI never came with one. Now that 5-speed I mentioned earlier, it came in the second generation WRX and apparently has a tendency to destroy itself under normal use. Some people run 400 horsepower through them without a problem, and others get metal shaving and oil soup with a stock car. It's mostly a lottery with these things. Interior is boring, aside from the seats. STIs came with nice race seats, and the WRXs had good support. The classic Subaru color scheme is World Rally Blue with gold wheels. The most famous of these wheels were the stock STI BBSs from the Blobeye through the Hawkeye generation. This color scheme actually spawned in the classic rally era from Subaru's sponsor. A popular Asian cigarette company called State Express 555 had a blue and yellow color scheme. Attached to the trunk we have either a low-line WRX wing or the legendary STI wing. According to NASOC, the older spoiler makes 60 pounds of downforce at 100 miles per hour, and 140 pounds at 150 miles per hour. The newer spoiler supposedly makes 70 pounds of downforce at 100 miles per hour. So yes, the wing is functional. Sadly, 60 to 70 pounds isn't really anything to write home about. It's mostly there for looks. There are plenty more little quirks here and there, but this is already starting to drone on. The Impreza is obviously known mostly for its place in rally history. I went over Subaru's rally history in another video, but I'll go over it quickly here. Subaru first used the first generation Legacy Turbo for rally, but moved on to the Impreza because it was a smaller and lighter chassis. The year it made its debut, 1993, the Impreza won top podium in the Thousand Lakes Rally. Colin McRae, legendary driver for Subaru, also originally used the Legacy, but moved on to the Impreza and won 3 titles for Subaru from 1995 through 1997. The Impreza really found its use by private parties. The WRX from the factory is actually a really good race car stock. It can do well in the dirt and is used all over the world to enter hill climbs and local rally championships. The Impreza doesn't always stay off-road. Many people make their WRX or STI their primary track car, or pavement queen. It's light, well handling, and has plenty of power for the track. The engines are also incredibly tunable. Not really when compared to 1000 horsepower Evos and Supras, but good for getting those quick track times. The Impreza is one of the most popular cars for tuning currently. I hate to say it as a Subaru fan, but as prices have dropped and more people have been able to pick up their very own WRX, it's sort of become the new Civic. Not in the way you think it is. The WRX is now a cheaper platform that's available to more people. Heck, I picked up my 03 WRX for $1,700. However, the Impreza will always hold a place on the podium for being a legendary rally car and continued amazing street car platform. That's it for today's video. Do you have a suggestion for the next video? Comment it below. I've gotten many requests for a 240 video, so I may have to do that one soon. Thanks for watching. Fun fact, all the title cards in this video are sharpened onto the body panels of an actual WRX. If you'd like to see more about the WRX and my Subaru addiction in general, go check out my other videos where I'm WRX swapping my 93 Legacy.